As flickered flame makes shadows bend, and smoke meets moonlight, cold and blue. When blackest night hails twilight's end, then darkness comes to beckon you. As hunger turns the flesh to fire, and breathing falters, reason halts, then creep the claws of dark desire to rip and split you at your faults.
So the day and a half journey, I imagine you try to avoid Dame Galena as much as possible on your way to Skytear. Right before you all left, you guys were given the post, and going through it, who do you think would be given the mail? Do you think which one of the
Morrow.
would the housekeeper be given the mail to? Okay.
The only one who gets consistent mail because it's just like book magazines.
100%. No, it's medical magazines. She
Yeah.
submits
Her
articles
journals.
to every single one of them. She's not been accepted to any of them yet.
Not a single journal.
Elven
Incredible.
Medical Monthly.
Rejection letter, rejection letter, rejection letter. That one's for Cinza. Rejection letter, rejection letter.
So you go back through to this letter that is addressed to Cinza, and you notice that the seal on the wax is the Vidira crest.
Oh, this looks important. And
Do you open it?
I don't, because honestly, she's still off in her own world a little bit, even if she's come kind of back down to the realm of reality. She's only taking her 50% of emo elf time. But she's, I think, going to give Wick his Magical Magician's Monthly. She's going to give Cinza her letter, and then she's gonna go find Thistle to bitch about another 7 rejection letters.
I keep telling you, if you submit to the same magazine, they're not gonna read it.
They're going to listen to me one of these centuries. I think she would specifically point out the crest when she hands it over.
I think Cinza makes what she can best approximate as a sort of disinterested, like, oh, that's interesting, passe. And she'll tuck it into her pack until there is a time when she is not around anybody to read that.
So probably during a nap or in a sleeping time. So you are in a hammock, and you may open the letter.
I do that.
All right. So as you can imagine, this letter is from Radia. Dear Cinza, we are now well settled in Ardis, in a townhome near Crusaders Square. As much as I would prefer someplace less conspicuous, it isn't my choice to make, like so many decisions here. I find myself taking long walks in the early hours, before the sunlight pierces through the tops of the buildings. My peers have all exhausted themselves by then, and the common folk cling to their dreaming for a little while longer. And for a precious handful of minutes, I can be wholly myself, to enjoy the city in my own way. With every decade, the cobblestones become more uneven, and the streets warp and buckle to the invisible pressure of time. The street lamps rust and crack, weeping tears of oil. Broken windows look down on the street below, ivy vines creeping in like insidious thoughts. There is a beauty to this decay, the unearned scorn which fate has placed upon this city. I think we experience beauty like an ache, but one that we long to feel. What we find beautiful is what is able to touch us where we are weak. Don't you agree? I apologize for any confusion that I caused you when we discussed your fears about Skytear Island. My thoughts have been rather preoccupied these many months, and I find myself with too many thoughts and never enough time to voice them when in your presence. Time is so precious. Most people equate time to gold, but I think of it like quicksilver, slipping through our fingers, cooling at our feet, reflecting back on us as we reflect on it. Perhaps I should tell you where I am now, what I am doing. A group of us are sitting outside by one of the canals, drinking wine and watching the street performers. There's a hellspawn woman in red and gold spiderweave silks juggling fire. She is very impressive. I wish I shared her courage. A little way down the canal, there's a man with a squeeze box, a lute player, and a drummer. Some of my peers are dancing. I fear it is only a matter of time before someone asks me to join and I will have to acquiesce. Everyone is so happy tonight. Perhaps because it reminds them of stories they heard of what this place used to be. I cannot afford to be a dark cloud, so I must play my role. I wish you were here, Sinza. The wind is turning cold. Now that you have my address, I hope your duties will permit you a little time to write me. Again, only if it is no imposition to you. Yours most sincerely, Radia Vidira.
I think Stinza reads it a couple times, I think as is the nature of getting a letter from somebody, you read it over, especially when you're stuck on a boat with the people and you don't have a lot of entertainment to do and things anyway. I don't know if this boat is like the most conducive environment for writing a letter in return, but she does intend to respond. Whether that would be better done when they reach the shore and she is given a proper writing desk and proper privacy, or if it has to wait until they get back to the manor, that's also fine. I think she would also ruminate on what I don't think she would jump to pen and paper immediately. I think she would try to think. This is the writing letters equivalent of don't respond to the text right away, wait at least a day or two before you do.
And penmanship probably isn't going to be the best on the boat, just due
Yes,
to the nature of the travel.
Yeah.
You guys will continue your travel and arrive at Skytear Island. Essentially, this was a chance for you guys to see the island. You haven't been there since you cleared it out. It's been, a couple weeks now since the mining crew came. So as you arrive at the dig site, you see that the Hrengar crew is mixing chemicals and they're prepping for another section of lazurite to be removed. They just took the first chunk out. So the chunks are basically like cylinders about maybe a foot and a half, something like that tall. So remember, it takes about a week to take one piece out because they have to be very careful when they're cutting. Otherwise, the lazurite releases from the marrow stone and it's all for nothing. The drainage efforts have left the muddy ground cracked and flaking like burned skin. The shaft leading into the earth has about 20 feet of water removed. Lord and Lady Heverin gravitate immediately to the walls of the shaft, looking for toe holds or any method to go up or down. Sir Raishon barrels past you all, removes the pop-up table from his back before setting down his backpack and pulling out parchment and his surveyor's tools. And Dame Marche hangs back with you all. So eager they are, like bees buzzing over a honey cake.
Sans fog, it is rather beautiful here.
And she kicks a little toe at the flaking mud that is coming off the top. Well, the walk to the site was certainly thrilling. Dark pine trees full of mystery.
The last time I was here, it wasn't quite as visible, so it is rather nice to get a clear look at the scenery.
Definitely not as visible from under the mud. Recalling the time that she was sucked under the ground.
Just
Yeah.
sand.
Little private joke.
I'm still trying to get the sand out.
Thistle is definitely keeping to the back. It's the fear that she experienced here, seeing her brother again, is still lodged so deep in there that it's almost like unless she has somebody directly next to her, she feels like it's just going to start again.
Yes, absolutely. And you all had visions while you were here of one thing or another. So I can imagine everybody being on edge for their own unique reason.
How visible is that for Thistle?
I think... Hey, Wig, how far are you potentially from Thistle?
I can be right next to you.
I would appreciate that. She's got like a firm grip on that shoulder.
I don't think
And
Morrow's
Wick
going
is
to
equally
venture.
nervous.
Here and he is a real person.
I don't think Morrow's going
And
to
Wick's-
venture more than a couple feet from Thistle, but she's still in more of a medical mindset. She's looking for that same panic in case she does need to cast calm.
And Wick's kind of taking this as a comfort thing too, because I think Wick's kind of peering into the hole because the last time he was here, while you were all in your kind of trance, is when he saw this shadowy figure peer back at him from this area. And I guess the only person who knows that would be Morrow, because they had spoken about it. So he's nervous because he knows that he's seen something here.
Yeah. And Cinza, from your perspective, you think that your secret is, only with you. Nobody else in your party knows about the little deal you struck here.
I think she almost maybe in concert with Wick peers over the edge, not knowing it's for the same reason. Kind of gazing down at the water 20 feet down and kind of like, huh.
And as you are all apprehensively looking, everybody go ahead and give me a perception check, actually.
30.
26.
34.
Nat 1. Thistle says I do not see it. I willfully do not see it.
Yeah. So everyone except Thistle, of course, who is trying to notice as little as possible. Mari has been on the island. She's been going back and forth quite a bit. But you notice her watching all of you. She's reading the expressions on your face. She is studying all of your body language. She is ostensibly, checking in with the mining crew. She's checking in with the mercenaries. She has stuff to do. She's watching you very intensely and trying to not make it obvious, but you all clock it, except for Thistle.
I think feeling eyes on her, Cinza's eyes snap up to the source, lock eyes with Mari, and step back from the edge, kind of straightens out her clothes, kind of stretches, and suddenly is like, it's very much like I wasn't doing anything, but it's like, yeah, I saw you watching me and I'm resetting.
And she does not flinch at that.
I'm watching you, watching her.
She looks you up and down, and she's smirking her trademark smirk. It's not really clear what she's thinking, and I think she's quite fine with no one really knowing what she's
Hey,
thinking.
Mommy.
Yes.
I have this thing called Recognize Spell. Does that
sure do.
allow me to understand what the basis of this curse was, or like anything about it, or is it I have to see a spell be actively cast?
Yes, it has to be happening in the moment. As a reaction, the catalyst has to be.
Okay, perfect.
But with more research, and that's something that potentially this archaeology team might learn more about. And to that end, as you all are, watching each other watch each other, meanwhile, Lady Marche has been studying those oily columns, some of which are standing upright and some of which are slumped over in the mud. Well, if I had to guess, I'd say this was an old Zulgath ruin. Not entirely uncommon, especially given the pit. But those strange columns, they're not marble, surely. Oh, Zulgath, yes. They often follow holes up from the Darklands. You might have heard of them colloquially as troglodytes.
So people, things might have emerged from here, causing this?
Yes, so Zulgath, or troglodytes, are Darkland-dwelling humanoids. They look
Humanoids,
very
okay.
similar to kobold, but they are not. They are reptilian in nature with dull gray scaly hides and skinny. If you want to know any more than that, you would have to give me a recall knowledge check.
I will
Happily.
happily give you that because Morrow's definitely listening.
So it depends on what you're trying to recall knowledge about. So for the Zulgath, actually, it would be society.
I didn't do great.
Roll for shit today. That's a 20.
With a +7 in society.
That's with a plus
11.
15.
Alrighty.
27 over
I
here,
know.
though.
I have a very nice hat, and I know some of these words.
Perfect. So, you guys would know at least the Zulgath, they live in the Darklands. Some of them used to live on the surface, and they look kind of like subterranean kobolds, sort of. Seems you would know with that 27 that Zulgath can change in appearance depending on like what their role is in the clan. So some of them can actually be quite hulking, whereas some of them are very skinny and, you know, different things in between. So that is because they are Darkland creatures. The deepest section, the lowest of the Darklands, which I believe is Orv, is heavy with radiation. So Zulgath are very much mutant creatures, and that's one of the reasons why their bodies are able to mutate based on necessity.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes,
Oh,
Zulgath
yeah.
used to be a lot more common on the surface in times before, you know, the dominion of man sort of took over the entire skin of Galarian.
I guess, and I can always ask Desmarchais about this, but
Yeah.
the idea of these pillars being here specifically with this mineral deposit, is that what she's saying is part of the ruins, or these like speared forth from ruins that are further down below?
Yes, great question. So she's looking at the oily black columns that are all around the site. She expressed confusion and did not even recognize. She said, well, it's not marble. What is that stuff? But she explains to you, Zulgath often follow holes up from the Darklands, reaching up like fungal tendrils. But didn't Emmerich say that this was a Kellid ritual site? How odd. Raishan, darling, isn't it odd? He'll pretend like he can't hear me until I say it's tea time. Oh, look, you see that? His ear twitch when I said tea. Like a dog.
Yes, we can tell it is some kind of mineral local to the island. I'm sure that Count Moncrief has his plans.
Well,
What on earth is it?
And Mara's gonna make just kind of like a shrugging motion.
Yeah. And before you can think of a response, Lord Heverin says, it's lazurite. Don't touch it. It looks like they're carting it out of here. Well, like a mercy. The world could have guessed such a thing. Do you think it goes all the way down?
I think, again, Cinza peers over into the brackish water at the bottom. I couldn't say, but I wonder if that's what Emmerich is hoping.
Yeah. I guess we know what those little trogs followed up to get here. Dear, how misshapen they must have been. Raishan, you're going to win a prize if you can construct one of those little beasties, aren't you? Now, what was I saying? Oh, yes. But many Kellid were scavengers, but they didn't reappropriate religious sites. It's hard to call down a god in someone else's house.
I mean, we've spoken to some of the locals, and they seem to also believe that this is a Kellid site, so I would trust them first and foremost. They're the ones living here.
Indeed. Well, perhaps I'll have to do an interview or two, some primary sources, as it were.
Can I religion about this? Just because I have an 18 religion, and I think Morrow's brain would start
Please.
kind of working.
Yeah,
36.
wonderful. So, Morrow, Desmarchais is absolutely right. The Kellid are mobile people, a lot of them. Some of them do maintain permanent dwellings. But the Kellid tradition, at least, was to be continually traveling around, because they are scavengers, they are hunters. So, you have that pattern of migration and of movement. The Kellid religion, as you guys had learned a little bit and discussed a little bit, is about connecting with extraplanar creatures, bonding with them. The process of bonding with an extraplanar creature creates an eidolon. And eidolon that have bonded with the Kellid people over time get stronger and stronger to the point where they become gods. So you start to call on an eidolon, you're calling on a deity. So basically what Desmarchais is saying is that if this was a ritual site for the Zulgath people, it really wouldn't be attractive to a Kellid tribe necessarily to make their camp here, because they feel the clash of like, this is some other god's sacred space. So it's pinging her as strange as to why this is regarded as a Kellid ritual site.
Thistle will take out the inquiry and go, I would be happy to introduce you to everyone we've met on the Isle. There is truly a wealth of knowledge in these people. It's quite inspiring to see.
Oh, of course, of course. And we won't know more about this place until our Lord and Lady Heverin start to scratch the surface.
Of course.
Goodness, these columns are so weather-worn. There were frequent storms here, yes?
Yes, in fact, it was actually quite difficult to get over here.
Indeed. There is nothing so relentlessly destructive as water. Even gods give up hope. So, I'm going to take some etchings. And then I'll need to make some plaster and some whitewash contrast paint. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm positively vibrating. And with that, Lady Marche goes to her duties. So the plan now is for Raishan is going to thoroughly survey the island and break it up into sections. Lady Marche is going to take plaster castings and etchings and rubbings of everything that's on the surface. They're going to take all that information back to the townhouse. Meanwhile, Lord and Lady Heverin are going to stay with the Harangar on the island and actually start the process of digging. So you can absolutely be part of this investigation. You can absolutely start to, learn more or work alongside them or provide your insight. But that is the current plan in terms of the archaeological aspect of what's going on at Skytear now.
I think Wick not wanting to, he doesn't like to lie. So he's sort of going to be like, this is not what I want to be. they will definitely get something out of me, or I will say something. So he's kind of going to like skirt
take
back.
Notes?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And she's just gonna, I think she sees Wick's discomfort, and we've been together long enough that everyone knows Wick doesn't like to lie.
Oh, yeah.
So she's gonna pull him over to the archaeology the artifact, if there's any out so far, or just talking to the archaeologists, and really, really keep the focus on what they think they'll find, if they've pulled anything out, those types of things. Just really keep the conversation away from the Lazarite. It's just something that needs to leave. We're not talking about anything else. What is that? What even is that? I would like to keep my eye open for anything that doesn't line up with what I know to be true.
Yeah, absolutely. And the seed of that absolutely has been planted now that you've gotten a historical perspective from Lady Marche. And she is an expert in this sort of thing. So the more questions that you have for her, you may be able to, or the more questions you have about this topic, you may be able to utilize her as a source, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So that being said, as we back to the present, and you see Lady Marche and Sir Raishan promenading down the street, do you have any impulse to talk to them, or would you like them to walk on by?
Minor panic because I'm not wearing a fancy hat.
Just for
I told
brunch.
you to bring
It's
your
fine.
hat.
It's just for brunch. It's a brunch thing. It's fine. You're fine.
You don't
I
understand
would
these
definitely
noble dressing
wave in
patterns.
kind. And if that wave prompts them to come over, that's fine. But Cinza's not going to get up from her spot.
Yeah.
Not really calling them over. They will continue on there. Wick, I will say, during this time, once you guys got back, and even before then, the past couple weeks, you have been in somewhat studious pursuits. The book on deadly diseases that you got from the Misthaven Sanitarium, you read the full thing. Whether how much you actually understood is, up to you. But you did provide it to Odessa, who was very happy to receive it. From there, you started going through the library that was on the grounds at Veracasti, searching for information regarding the shadowy figure and the oral traditions of the Kelid people proves frustrating, as almost no original sources exist. The one piece of folklore which stood out to you is something called a phantom eidolon. While the information you have available is slim, the description of an encounter with a lone Kelid fighter and their otherworldly companion fighting with each other in tandem puts you in the mind of Cinza's tactic with her mirror double. So if you feel the impulse to talk to Lady Marche in this moment, to ask her about that, you may. Otherwise, you will absolutely have time to do that later on. So it really just depends on, does Wick feel it's an appropriate time to discuss it, and does Wick feel that he has is able to talk about it in such a way that's not necessarily going to raise the alarm bells, because again, the whole lying thing and the distaste for it.
I don't think he's going to say anything. Partly because he doesn't feel comfortable being around them. He's not entirely sure if he can trust them. He's not entirely sure if he'll accidentally say something that he's not supposed to. He also, his studies in this figure, Cinza and Thistle don't know about this. Only Moro knows about this. And so he is still sort of hiding this. That also makes him feel uncomfortable. And I think if he were to bring this up, he would have to kind of let them know what he has seen. And I don't think he's entirely ready for that, especially when they're at an event and they're enjoying themselves.
As Mara was talking with these, one of the things she would have done when she was, in our flashback was specifically keep an eye out for that cloaked, darkened figure. And I think she's been constantly kind of keeping an eye around corners because not everything that is shadowy is incorporeal. So she might be a little on edge.
So you all finish your drinks. You start to walk around again. Near the Hall of the Veiled Mother itself, you see Bishop Olaman Lorimore, and he's wearing more elaborate vestments than you saw him in last time. There's a large silver spiral, the symbol of Pharasma, hanging from his neck. Knowing that this is his favorite holiday, you're surprised by the blanched expression on his normally tanned face. And as the crowd thins and as you approach, you see potentially why. Standing above him, towering over him, is a Dromar woman. Dromar is the name of half-orc. She stands well over 6 feet tall, messy black hair falling around her bright yellow eyes. At first glance, she is formidable, almost frightening, but for some would warrant a second or even a third look.
Hot.
Hey.
Hey.
And close beside her, looking as relaxed and elated as you would expect anyone at a joyful occasion to be, is Gus Kettleman.
Hell yeah.
The wrestler's back!
Yeah, I was about to be like, why do I recognize that name? Why do I feel my heart aflutter?
Yeah, I talked with Odessa while you guys spent an entire 20 minutes having him strongman pose.
Yeah, as you approach, the Bishop Lorimore looks a little relieved. Oh, hello again. So good to see you. I hope you're enjoying the festivities.
Oh, wonderful. Truly, truly wonderful. Strong drinks. I can respect that. And then she's going to turn to Gus. Gus! It's been... God, it feels like an age.
Well, look at you. Good to see you.
I've been working on my musculature as we discussed the last time.
Well, give me a pose. Let me see what you've got.
And she tries to strike like a formidable adventurer's pose with her weak little muscles. And I think that little Log is also trying to flex himself and contort himself into something that makes him look like a bigger alligator than he is.
Ha! There you are. You have been practicing. Well done. And Bishop Lorimore says, "Oh yes, Mr. Kettleman was telling us that you were acquainted. And please allow me to introduce Madam Vindicator and Rizka. Your Reverence, these are the ones who we were speaking about." And Madam Vindicator and Rizka looks at you with a furrowed brow. I'm glad you're here. The bishop has informed me that you and some associates recently put some lingering souls to rest at the Misthaven Sanitarium.
I can hardly take any credit, and she gives kind of an almost, not quite performative, but with a little bit of flourish of a bow, and then pushes Cinza up to kind of up a little bit further, and Moro as well. It really was a group effort. As you can tell, there's matching hats now, and she's referencing, the fact that, Wick and Log have matching hats.
Well, I'm pleased to hear that so many souls were rejoined to the river for judgment. A terrible tragedy, and quite rare for Vesperholt, so I hear. But what is peace but not an invitation to those driven to disturb it?
I am still attempting to consecrate the area. but we did our best to do right by those souls. And I don't think Mara will introduce herself as a cleric, given that Shaika's hourglass is emblazoned on the front of her breastplate. She wants to see what this, for lack of being able to remember what the Pathfinder term is, this half-orcish woman says.
Yeah, drummer. And if you guys would like to roll a religion check to be able to recognize her title, you absolutely may do so.
31.
23.
Okay.
Also a 23.
9.
Well, while clerics do one thing, or a suite of things rather, the gods also employ, champions as well, who provide certain functions. The Vindicators provide more discrete functions, let's say. The more evilly inclined deities, for example, Asmodeus, the Prince of Hell, his Vindicators are called Inquisitors. So that is essentially the function that a Vindicator serves, is to search out heresy and to correct that heresy when they find it.
Pretty lady, smash evil, very likable.
So when, Moro, you mention trying to arrange consecration, and Marishka says, I would be honored to consecrate the space where so much pain was once inflicted. She turns to the bishop. Can I assume you will assist me with the ritual? Surely you must have been taught the way to channel Our Lady, and it would be a valuable exercise for the acolytes. And the bishop, of course, sputters in agreement immediately. And Moro, you flash back to a few nights ago, when you were praying and calling out to try to connect with other members of your faith. And you received a message back in a way that is not like a telepathic communication, but it is an impression, like a sensory experience that you interpret. And the impression that you got from the missive was, it will be more valuable to allow things to run their course than trying to impose yourself in this matter. And when you see how eager Imrishka is to consecrate the space and to cleanse the space, you realize now, it clicks. It's like, oh, Shaika had a vision that this woman would be here, and it's in my best interests to allow this woman to do her thing and not interpose, and not already have consecrated the space, for a different, very obscure goddess. So it's almost like oh God, thank goodness, thank you. Thank you, Shaika.
Thank you, my lady. I would be
Go
honored
ahead.
to be present if that is appropriate, but I do not believe it is my place to partake.
The consecration ritual is very specific, but rest assured you will be able to partake in the victory once it is won. You will feel the effect of it if you are to step foot in that place again.
It would be a great honor and a great favor. Thank you.
Indeed.
And specifically, this might be the first time you guys have seen Morrow willingly give up control of something.
I consider myself to have an encyclopedic knowledge of the haunted ruins and realms of Ustalav, and I had not heard of your Skyter Island, did you call it? And the bishop nods. And Gus looks at you all like, be cool. Like, it's okay. Until the bishop informed me of your many exploits here in Vesperholt. Your professor must collect his information from a wide variety of sources.
Cast a wide net.
And what did you find on this island? True curse, or perhaps a power misunderstood?
Hard to say. I think that sometimes, and I speak only as a humble enthusiast, and I think at that she kind of pats the amulet at her side, and like it's very obvious that she has bits and bobs of various magical equipment. Whether the Madam Vindicator knows that's what she's implying as to like, hey, I kind of cobbled together my magic, or not. She's, I just consider myself a humble enthusiast of these sorts of things. But sometimes I think all curses could be powers misunderstood, depending on the stance of the source of the power, if that makes sense. Just purely from an analytical standpoint.
In an arcane sense, while we may not necessarily understand the cause, it did dispel like a curse, and that was the most important part in bringing peace to the grounds of the island.
Peace. Yes, this place is well known for its peace. I have wanted to visit here many times, but there was always something more pressing for me to do. But I find myself with curiosity that can be sated with some time.
And Gus steps in and
Yes, I think Marishka here is thinking about spending some time in the beautiful city of Pale Gleam, learning a little more, looking at the good work that you've all done.
and he looks at you guys like again, like he's smiling, but his eyes are saying, "Don't freak out, stay cool."
Sinza smiles warmly and gives a slight, sort of like a half bow. Well, if there's any assistance we can be, by all means, welcome to. I feel strange welcoming you to Pale Gleam when this stint is my first time here as well. But Ustalav. So.
And we should be enjoying ourselves. It is a festival. All this talk of work. Do you drink?
And she looks down her nose at you.
On occasion.
Well then. Seems that we have a cider with your name on it. Join me, if you would.
She is happy to be cold, which is something that you guys are not used to experiencing from anybody in your travels so far.
I believe that the bishop and I have a conversation to be had, and I would like to assess your acolytes before I decide who will join us for the consecration. But Gus, I'm sure, is more than happy to join you.
And Gus smiles and says,
Trust me, when this one doesn't want to drink, I do the drinking for two.
Sinza laughs a little too loud because, starstruck and also, funny. We're easing tension.
yeah, and
You get
Gus
to
is
drink
happy
with
to.
the Gus Kettleman.
That's right. And he's happy to sidebar with you. So as you
Yes.
get very far out of earshot, because again, she is sharp and perceptive.
What an intense lady. My God, how long have you been with her?
You want to know how long we last, or? No. No, I've had the pleasure of knowing the Madam Vindicator for a few years now. She and I are not that interested in labels. We share each other's company when our paths cross, and when they don't, she and I may do as we please.
How long have you known that she's coming here?
Not as long as I would have liked, but I was able to got a tip off and was able to waylay her a bit, shall we say, and convince her to take the journey together, as it were. Wanted to make sure that you had a friend by your side when you tangled with her for the first time.
That is
Much
more appreciated than
appreciated.
Is Emmerich trying to get us caught? Why is there so many people?
I mean, you're the ones who keep having such rip-roaring successes. You're the victims of your own fame. I know how that goes for sure. However long she decides to be here is up to her, and whatever she decides to poke her nose in,
She
you'll
will
have to
do
figure
as she
that
will
out on
do.
your own. Mm-hmm.
I must admit it is unfamiliar to me to be known in this sense. Usually I'm just the doctor.
And something that resonates
It's almost like as soon as those words come out of your mouth, Moro, you all have an echo of something that Gervelin said to you before you first arrived in Pale Gleam. It is a terrible thing to be known.
Oh boy.
You didn't know what he meant at the time, but it's starting to sink in.
Well, I suppose Gus is right. There's only so long we can go moving through the shadows before our successes, as you put it, illuminate our presence. And I think Cinza looks very disquieted by this and is kind of tapping her nails together, kind of fidgeting.
Well, if I may offer a different perspective, we then are the masters of our own stories. If we're to be known, we might as well put on a show. Distract them from what we're truly doing. Emmerich should have impressed that upon you, Cinza.
That's what I like to hear.
I think she just stares at Thistle, completely baffled by her flippancy. And
Cinza and the good Count are two very different people, and if I may, Cinza, for that fact, I am rather grateful. Nothing against the Count, but I do appreciate
Nothing?
a certain genuineness that you have to you.
I appreciate that, I suppose. Gus, what do we need to know about staying out of her way? What can you tell us?
Well, Imrishka is driven. They call her the monster of monster hunters, an unfair label. She was an orphan, never had an easy time in the world. If she sees an obstacle, if she encounters something that wishes to stand against her, she will not let that stand. She's traveled all over Ustalov. She's spent the night in Bastard Hall. She's defeated haunts, consecrated places. She's a formidable woman. Strong and proud. And the chance to come here, to finally be allowed to come here, well, that's something she could not resist. She goes where she's told. When the powers that be in Caliphas assign her to a place, that's where she goes.
So we've caught the attention of someone in Caliphas.
Could be.
Well,
I don't like
agree
that.
with Thistle. If we're going to be watched, let's put on a show. I have wonderful tricks up my sleeve. We have wonderful drinks. If they want to be watching us, I'm happy to be watched.
I think Cinza goes to say something, thinks better of it, and shuts her mouth, but it's very obvious that she went kind of... And I think her eyes look at Gus. The idea of being watched right now, I think, makes her realize that she can't just go off talking about stuff in front of any old NPC that's hanging around. And she kind of, snaps her trap shut, smile.
We are going to have to get used to being the party that dispelled the curse of Skytear Island. That's not necessarily something you do every day. So, what do we want that party to look like? We're going to be watched no matter what we do. Might as well control the narrative a little bit, at least in public.
There's one thing I've learned from my time in the ring, my time on the road, and my time doing other things. If you don't want people to hear the truth, just make your story louder and much more interesting.
Good advice.
You said something about shots, Thistle dear.
My fun fact. And then she's going to, with the acknowledgement that she did say a fun fact, she's gonna go and get shots for everyone